What's up, everybody? I am back with a new movie review, and today I'll be talking about the Wes Anderson film, The Fantastic Mr. Fox. Uh, it stars George Clooney as Mr. Fox, Meryl Streep as Mrs. Felicity Fox, Jason Schwartzman as Ash Fox, their son, Eric Anderson as Christopherson Silver Fox, Felicity's nephew, Bill Murray as Clive Badger, Wally Wolodarski as Kylie the Opossum, Michael Gambon as Farmer Frank Bean, Helen McCory as Mrs. Bean, Garth Jennings as the son, Robin Hurlstone as Walter Boggs, Hugo Guinness as Nathan Bunce, Willem Dafoe as Rat, Owen Wilson as Coach Skip, Jarvis Cocker as Petey, Wes Anderson as Stan Weasel, Karen Duffy as Linda Otter, Roman Coppola as Squirrel Contractor. Which I gotta say is a good idea to have like a bunch of squirrels as contractors. It's kind of clever. Anyway, uh, we this is based off of the Roald Dahl book of the same name, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which uh, seems like a total Wes Anderson type of vibe anyway. As a matter of fact, now I'm talking about all these animals like squirrels. I always thought that if they ever make a Squirrel Girl Marvel film, it has to be Wes Anderson. You know, that character fits in like a Wes Anderson type of style, whether it's animated or live action. She just gives off Wes Anderson, and Wes Anderson has to do like for me personally. That's my thoughts. Wes Anderson has to do a Squirrel Girl movie. It is just only, I don't know. In my brain, it only seems like it's right for him. Even though the MCU right now is on kind of like a downward spiral right now, but honestly, yeah, a Squirrel Girl movie. If you ever want to do it, Wes Anderson is probably the only director. I'm not saying he's the only director, but I say that character fits in the style of a Wes Anderson vibe. That's I gotta put that out there. Anyway, uh, we are introduced to uh, uh, Mr. Fox and Felicity as they are about to uh, raid this farm to try to get a couple of hens. And you know, Fox is Mr. Fox is pretty good at it, but because he's kind of got a hubrisness about him, he ends up getting caught in one of the cages, him and his wife, and that's where she kind of just blurts out the fact that, oh, she's pregnant. So she has Fox agrees that if they ever make it out of here alive, that he will choose a safer profession, which they do, and he agrees. So he becomes a newspaper columnist, and they end up living in a foxhole. And it's 2 years later, which in Fox years is 12. So they have their son Ash. They have like a nice little domicile, but Mr. Fox is, not really appreciating what he has. He has a nice family, a good job, that helps him provide for the said family. He has a pretty good life, but like with George Bailey in early on in the It's a Wonderful Life, he's not seeing it as it's playing out. He's not appreciating what he has. He wants more, and is going through like a midlife crisis kind of situation. So uh, he ends up uh, uh, looking at different real estate, like looking at this fancy smancy tree where he can live with his family. And he speaks with his attorney, Clive Badger, who explains that it's probably not a good idea to live in this particular neighborhood because it's right by the three of the meanest farmers, uh, 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 Walt Box, Nate Bunce, and Frank Bean. Each one has run a particular farm. Boggs, as a turkey farmer. Buns is got a different type of poultry, and Bean, mainly produces like apple cider. And this doesn't really deter Fox. Matter of fact, it probably incentivizes him to get this particular location. It's kind of good idea to have George Clooney in this, because considering that he been in 3 Ocean's films where he's like a renowned thief, it's kind of, it kind of fits overall. Now, once his family starts moving in, and matter of fact, before I get further into it, there's a line that Fox said to Clive where it's like, I hear what you're saying, and everything like that, but I'm just going to ignore your advice. I quote that, a few times in my life, because it's like, like I take in what people are saying, and if like, I see like no purpose, or at least that advice won't suit my needs in the long run, I end up telling them, I was like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to ignore your advice. Like I end up quoting that from this film. Because people can give you all the advice in the world, doesn't mean it's always going to fit into your purview or whatever scenario that you're trying to deal with. Some advices are good, sometimes they're not so good. Even though there can be good advice in general, but it doesn't mean it fits in all spaces for everybody. Anyway, they also are taking on Kristofferson, who is Felicity's nephew, because the dad is coming down with pneumonia, and since he's like a single father, they agreed to look after Kristofferson while he's getting better. And of course, this doesn't sit too well with Ash, their son, because he's dealing with some bit of insecurities, because Kristofferson is just charming and good at everything, even though he's like a sweet, soft-spoken person. Ash still feels threatened because he's not so good at things. And he's constantly trying to gain the favor and the attention of his father. And this is kind of perfect timing given for this review, because it's only a few days after Father's Day. So it's a good kind of Father's Day type of vibe. A good family film in general, but a good Father's Day type of like vibe to it. So while Kristofferson is primarily getting all the praise from his father that Ash wants from him, is kind of like a thing where Mr. Fox is not acknowledging his son, and clearly that his son wants his approval. Clearly, but he's so cluttered by his own little personal hangups that he's failing to notice his family's issues. Uh, so uh, uh, while they end up meeting Kylie, who's the uh, not landlord. What is it? Is it landlord? Uh, Superintendent, and not landlord. He's a superintendent of this home, and he becomes friends with Foxy, and he ropes Kylie into a scheme of robbing the farmers because he wants to have some kind of meaning in his life. He felt alive when he was thieving back in the day, that he has to, because he found purpose in that, but it was a dangerous purpose. He's not failing to acknowledge that he's failing to acknowledge. But that is what kind of gives him like a drive or a rush, and it's like, it kind of gets his like brain active, and it was like the better part of his life that he had to put it to a full stop for his family. Because his wife told him he had to stop because this is a dangerous life. So behind her back, him and Kylie prep for robbing these three farmers. So he sneaks in the first two farms, not much with a hitch. Is upon the third one where the wife kind of picks up on something being up, because the fact that the pantry is getting fuller and fuller, and even on a columnist salary, there's no way that he's just buying up all this stuff. So, and then he ends up roping Kristofferson into the third heist because he's so skilled in martial arts and acrobatics and all this other stuff. It's like, oh, okay, we need his skill set. So the farmers gathered together, and you'd be hard pressed not to feel some level of sympathy for them, because Mr. Fox is stealing a good chunk of their livelihood. Because obviously being a farmer is hard work, and you try to produce as much as possible only for animals to steal a good chunk of that. That's money out of their family's pockets. So they plan an ambush at the tree by they end up finding out where Mr. Fox lives, and plan an ambush. And of course, as soon as him and Kylie poke their head out, they get the blasting, and they end up blasting off Foxy's tail, which Mr. Bean ends up using it as a necktie. So the jig is up, and he had to come clean with his wife. And of course, he's trying to do like a slick talk, doing some kind of cliche speech. It's just trying to trying to show that he got things under control. She's not too happy with it. She claws, part of his face. Is like you promised me. Now you put our family in danger. So they end up constantly digging lower and lower through the earth, which I'm surprised how they navigate around different hard mineral deposits into the softer earth they can easily dig through, because I don't know. Is this like a nitpick? Because like it seems like you perfectly maneuver around, certain rock materials. Because I would have preferred to just show like, oh, they come across a hard surface, so they have to maneuver around that. Just so like a tip of an area where they come across like a rocky surface, and then they dig around that and continue forward. I don't know. There's just subtle little things that I kind of would have seen, because there's no way for them to determine they was about to approach a rocky surface in the earth. Anyway, I'm nitpicking. I do appreciate the stop motion animation and where they chose a studio where they have all these stop motion, where they film a lot of stop motion stuff and use miniatures and stuff like that. It's in the studios in the location where Roald Dahl grew up, so I think it was kind of fitting. So yeah, just a little behind the scenes kind of factoid. But yeah, and just the meticulous way they use the fur on these animals is really good, because I'm pretty sure it's very time consuming, but you can see like the dedication and the care they put into it. It's all very good. I just have to take the time to point out that fact, because I have such an appreciation of all forms of animation, especially stop motion, because the time it takes for them to do certain moves every time for each scene, it's a lot of work. And then taking out certain facial features to replace them with different facial features, or moving certain body parts to emphasize certain things. I'm sure they still use some level of computer generated stuff here and there, but it's so little of that it might as well be non-existent. But yeah, you look it up online with what they did behind the scenes of this, because it's really good. They even come to find this out during the recording sessions. Some of the scenes were filmed outside. Matter of fact, it's one of the scenes, I'm pretty sure is one where, because when the other animals ends up digging through the earth and bumping into Fox and his family, and get into some kind of argument. I'm pretty sure it's that scene, because of Fox, all their homes getting kind of demolished because the farmers are on a hunt for him, and they pretty much demolishing a lot of the woodland area just to find him. So it's putting everybody in danger, all because of his greed and hubris, and his insecurities about his station in life that is not higher up or whatever. But they filmed like a certain scene outside, and there was like a boat nearby that was honking in its horn, I think. And so Wes Anderson had to utilize an airplane sound over that part to hide that in the background. So I didn't even know that you're able to, for animated films, didn't know you were able to actually try to film outside, because honestly, that usually it is like, for someone who was taught about voice acting, using the sound booth was so important, because it's kind of, we're trying to escape outside noises so you can be able to hear clearly the vocal performers. But Wes Anderson managed to pull it. I'm pretty sure he's not the only one that managed to pull it off, but he's just the only one I could think of right now, that he managed to utilize an outside recording to his benefit for a particular scene. So yeah, usually that is like the opposite that you typically will want when it comes to animated films. Anyway, so Badger and the others are just, furious with Fox because he's putting everybody their family's in danger. Uh, uh, what next? So he comes up with a plan to where they, well, Felicity goes to check on Badger, Badger's wife's, check on Badger's wife and the other wives and their children who's tucked away somewhere else to lead them where the rest of the group are, because he's taking some people to dig into, make these intricate tunnels to dig through the other farmers' homes, so that way they can come through from under the ground, or find like another passageway inside, so they can rob them all blind, because the farmers are putting the bulk of their resources, the bulk of their forces. Somehow they're making a whole televised thing out of this, because it seems like, not really newsworthy and not really like this. It's a big deal, but it's at the same time not a big deal. But you putting so much of your time and resources into trying to find this particular fox. It's kind of like with like the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou that I just reviewed on. It's very Moby Dick vibes to it, where him with his obsession with that shark. These farmers got this obsession with the fox, where they're wasting so much of their resources. They already lost a good chunk of change from losing their food for the first time anyway, but now they sticking more funds into it just to get this fox. But now they gonna lose a lot more, because they're taking, because they plan on starving these animals out. But now they're can carry on further now that they robbing more from them for food and drink. You see eventually, well, it happened early on, but Mr. Fox ends up getting to a fight with Bean's animal security. Like, how you hire a rat as your security is weird, but this rat, played by Willem Dafoe, clearly has some history with Mr. Fox and Felicity, and he calls his wife the town tart kind of thing. And Mr. Fox trying to clear it up with Kylie, like, certainly she lived, we all did. But Kylie's like, but the town tart? The town tart, though? Like, shut up. But he managed to get the rat to slip. But now, oh, well, before I get to this part, one of the Beaver's sons, who's also classmates with Ash and the other kids, I guess he's the local bully. He pushes like mud on Ash's face, and of course Kristofferson, defends his cousin and beats up the kid, which is a nice little warm moment. There's a little warm moments where Ash is being clearly a dick to his cousin, but Kristofferson, he showed he's not a pushover, but he's not one to like engage in every little fight. He's like, he'll let people say what they want, but he shows that like, I'm not the one to be messed with. And he tells Ash like, hey, I know you've been spreading rumors about me, like me having like fleas in my pelt and all this other stuff. Like, clearly I don't, because Ash is just insecure about his cousin, because his cousin's good at everything at school, and he clearly liked this girl that clearly likes Kristofferson, so it becomes like a whole thing. But things kind of take a turn where he sees like his cousin kind of defend him, even though he's older than his cousin, but Kristofferson is just taller than him. So they end up celebrating that they, you know, uh, not only robbed the farmers blind, but now they can actually feed their families and continue on without any worry for starving to death. But then the farmers start to flood the tunnels with apple cider. But it's like, why not just use a water hose? Clearly, you got the firefighters nearby for some odd reason. And it's like, why you wasted more of your resources? Why not just use basic water? What was the point? But anyway, then flooded tunnels, which puts the animals in the sewer area. Which where of course it's Meryl Streep. Of course she got is like a incredible actress. The way she acted through this scene just by vocal performance is stellar. Where she had this one-on-one talk with Fox is like, I don't even know if I can even be with you anymore at this point because of your insecurities, because of your greed, because of your hubris, you put not only the lives of other, friends and neighbors' lives and their families' lives in danger. You put your own family's lives in danger, all because of that you can't sit still. You can't just appreciate what you have. You gotta always want more for your life. Because he mentioned earlier about his about how his father was poor and he doesn't want to be poor himself, kind of thing. Even though he didn't take his wife at his word when she says like, yes, we may be poor, but we're happy, and just that's what matters. But you tend to understand, at least when it comes to most guys, can tend to understand the position of Fox, where we always want to do best for ourselves, so that way we can always do more for others. That's the biggest drive for a lot of young men. Is like, we have an ambition, we have a goal, we have a dream for what we want to do in terms of career wise or whatever. It's like, I want to do this because it's like, that's my passion, and I also want to make money doing my passion. This is the overall goal, and there tend to be sacrifices or whatever, and it's gonna be blood and sweat and tears and all that stuff. That is, you can see that, that kind of drive, not just a drive to be a thief, but it's just like that drive in general that we want to achieve, so that way we can provide a better life for not only ourselves but our family. But you don't want to do it so much where it's becoming like a detriment at the same time. Your drive shouldn't come at it's like, your drive to be a thief is not going to bode well in the end, or some kind of drug kingpin or anything. It's like a normal drive is like, he's a newspaper columnist. You're going to take that same drive and apply it to, you want to run that company or start your own newspaper company or something like that. That can be like a healthy drive that any wife would fully support. And he's already, because of his attitude, is already coming at a major cost. Your appendage, you lost your tail, that that the antagonist is wearing like a trophy. Now Ash gets an idea of trying to get his father's tail back, just to, get his, he's obviously trying to get his approval for his father, but he also, wants to, he has that same kind of, ambition as his father, crazy idea and everything like that. So he gets Christopherson involved because he freely admits his point that you're clearly good at stuff that I am just really am not, and I need your help so I can get my father's tail back. So they end up sneaking into Bean's headquarters in order to get that tail back, but they didn't realize he's wearing the tail. They end up getting busted by his wife, but Christopherson gets caught while trying to make sure Ash escapes. So, Bean and the other farmers think that's his son, so they send a letter to animals. I know it's a cartoon, so don't want to read too much into it, but it's like you're sending a literal ransom note type of letter to animals. And I guess they fully aware that, these animals has some form of communication with humans, and that's just normal. But what about the hens in the hen house? Like, clearly they're not like sentient to the point where it's like, please don't kill me. It's like who's sentient, who's not? Okay, like I said, I'm thinking too deep into it. But Mr. Fox is like resigning himself to sacrifice himself in order to release his nephew and leave the other animals alone. He's willing to be put to death, pretty much. But as he's about to go, the rat shows up to try to kidnap the right son this time. But he shows back up. Mr. Fox shows back up and fights the rat. The rat falls near a generator and electrocutes himself. And before he dies, he lets them know where Christopherson is being held. So, Ash, Mr. Fox, and Kylie mount a rescue plan and gets all the other neighborhood animals involved, utilizing their own unique skill sets as animals in order to trick the farmers and the other people they roped in by sending out like these acorns they lit on fire and chucked them like grenades at the neighborhood, so that way they, everybody's too busy trying to put out all this fire, gives the trio the chance to run in and get inside Bean's facility while Mr. Fox is distracting a rabid beagle. Kylie and Ash go rescue Christopherson, and they end up getting Foxy's tail after a beagle snatches off of Bean's neck and just kind of like and just really tore into it. Now it's all patchy and stuff, but they managed to get it back, which was the overall goal. And they take one of these little little tiny bike things. Somehow they're able to ride, and somehow there's a ramp there, coincidentally, and a target for Evel Knievel kind of thing to go through and escape. And they come across a wild wolf, which Foxy has a phobia of. But even though they can't communicate, but through physical non-verbal communication, they're able to come to some kind of mutual understanding. He just pumps his fist in the air and the wolf responds. I think a lot of people took it as the wolf kind of, I guess, is a representation of just, they're wild animals. It's like he's content with what he is in his life, and Foxy has to be okay with what he's got going on in his life. There's other people who has a different interpretation. I think they are valid. I just can't remember them because it's been a long time since I've seen this film. But it's just, there's like a clarity for Foxy at this point, where he's kind of understands, like, uh, we're getting older, we're getting wiser. We're past a certain childish things, where we gotta be able to be okay with what we are, where we at in life. Uh, 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 yeah, pretty much. So the farmers are still like wasting time trying to find these animals, which they don't realize they're making nice little homes inside the sewer area, where ironically they managed to dig a tunnel underneath this massive supermarket that the trio farmers equally own. So that's where people shop for their products. So they end up managing, to steal from them without having to put themselves in, serious danger at the same time. And of course, Felicity is pregnant again. So they live a nice little, life. Kristofferson's father's considering, who's getting better, is considering moving close to them. Don't know why that was never like a thing before, but whatever. So everything ends on a happy note. I guess Foxy managed to get what he wants in the end, sorta. He's not thieving in a traditional way that he's used to, but he managed to fulfill that void in some capacity. But I still kind of like the fact that he doesn't go out of this unscathed. There is punishments to what he's done, and he has to live with that, i.e. the tail, which he's now using as a clip-on. But yeah, that was fantastic, Mr. Fox. It's actually one of my favorite Wes Anderson films, personally. Leave a comment below. What is your favorite Wes Anderson film? And honestly, he's one of my favorite directors. I really like Wes Anderson, and I would love to, be in one of his roles. I don't care what it is, but it's just like I love just the world building that he has, or his mind's eye in terms of, the cinematography and how he films certain things is, always have fun, because it's the whimsy of it. I think, I don't know, it's just the whimsy of it and the twee of it. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. There'll be 2 other Wes Anderson films I want to cover before we get into July and start going through 4th of July patriotic type of films. So anyway, I will see you guys a little bit later as I get to streaming some more games with you guys. Definitely getting more Expedition 33. Well, I was about to say, like, maybe I'm gonna play some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, but maybe I should do that tomorrow. Because I probably just want to play just probably one game, and I want to put in more time in some Expedition 33. But anyway, take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.